live.
All right. We're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. I'm stoked that you're here. And if you're looking for some good paragliding content on YouTube on a Thursday night, you found the right place. Paraglidingtalk.com. We have a special guest tonight. Philip Russman is with us, and it is going to be an amazing episode. You're also joined by Anthony Paragringo, who's in the moderation team. Nick is also in the moderation team. Craig Taylor is with us tonight moderating. Also, Sean Nafsker, and he's going to be spinning the wheel of Winnie things. So if you're in the chat and you're just being a lurking Larry, it's time to pipe up because your name's going down into the spinny wheel of Winnie things so that you can win something. Tonight, we're going to give away a t-shirt from paraglidingtalk.com. That's my best radio opening that I can do. This show is brought to you by ppgsmoke.com. If you haven't gone to their website, you should. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. If you're a Freeflight pilot, you can even find stuff for you. Go check that out. ppgsmoke.com is the website. Go check out paramotorprops.com. If you accidentally blow up a prop like I almost did this weekend, go check out paramotorprop.com. Paramotorprops.com has the best deals on the interwebs for your props. Also, you can go check out paraorangeproducts.com. paraorangeproducts.com. All kinds of good stuff there. There is a great website filled with stuff that you're going to want, especially for those stocking stuffers. And you need it. Go check it out. paraorangeproducts.com. Really appreciate all the sponsors of the show. If you're interested in supporting the show financially, you can do it on Patreon or PayPal. Keep the show going. You might learn something that'll save your life, or you might be investing in a show that might save somebody else's life. So it's worth it. All right. Now we're going to get right to the goods. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about a transition from paramotoring to free flight. On a regular basis, I get people that ask me, I really want to fly with you, Rob. Can't wait to go to Blossom with you. Can't wait to go fly. And I am always up for inviting people to come and fly. Now, let me just start this off by saying, if you're planning on going to fly Blossom, you need to talk to the locals first. Make sure that you go and you get a hold of somebody that knows how to fly that, because that site is a P4 site, which means you need to be very, very, very educated on free flying, because that place will bite you, and it's bit a lot of people. But if you can talk to the right people, you can avoid all kinds of problems. Phil Russman is a extraordinaire when it comes to aviation, anything that relates to air. The guy is literally a bird. I think his bones are hollow. The guy can fly without anything, I'm pretty sure. So he flies fixed wing. He's flown hang gliders. He's flown helicopters. He flew the coop to get here. Just letting you know. So if you're in the chat and you're interested in what we're talking about tonight, drop your comments in there. The moderators will take care of those questions and spoon feed them to me in our private chat. And we will get your questions in tonight. So I want to fire this thing off by first saying thank you, Phil, for taking the time to come on the show. Really appreciate it. If you guys don't know Phil Russman, he's a big part of the PPG Bible. His picture is actually on the PPG Bible. And he played a big role. He always downplays it, but he played a big role in putting that together with Jeff Goen and Jeff Hammond. By the way, please pray for Jeff Hammond. He's in recovery after having some pretty gnarly surgery, and it was cancer related. And so good vibes and good prayers for him that he would be made whole. Godspeed to that brother. He's a great guy. He sent me an email yesterday or the day before, and it's a long list of things that he has to overcome. So let's fire it off. Phil Russman, let's talk about the beginning aspects of transitioning into free flight from paramotoring. First, I'm going to just stay to the task. You gave me a list. I like that. Phil's very organized. The first question is it right for you? Will you like it? Is it practical for you? And fire away, Phil. Platform is yours.
Okie dokie. Well, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Um, yeah, I mean, one question is, why do it? What is it that's so cool about paragliding? And when I was teaching paramotoring, I used to say to my students, "Welcome to the second to the last sport you'll ever do." Um, so that was a joke. And why do it? It's really a magical way to fly because it's super quiet and it's super transportable. You can check one of these as baggage when the pandemic is over and travel around the world and fly all over the place and see the Alps from the sky or the Himalayas or or California. And it's just such a magical experience. The silence, and also there's the aspect of trying to go cross country, thermal flying, and that's kind of a lifetime endeavor. You can be making thermal flights pretty soon after you learn to paraglide, but you can spend the rest of your life improving and flying further and further and fly eventually be flying much further than you could ever fly with a motor and
Did you guys
much
write that
longer.
down?
Yeah.
Write that down. You can free fly farther than with a motor.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
my longest my longest motor flights maybe 80 miles or something like that. I can't remember, but my longest free flight is about 140 miles. And
Wow.
I think my longest hourly flight, longest time in the air is about 8 hours, but I'm not sure about that. Something like that.
Wow.
Maybe longer actually. So yeah, the potential is amazing, and it's really fun way to fly. Is it practical? Do you live by? Do you have paragliding sites nearby? If not, well, you can always travel to places in the country or all around the world if you have the time and the money to do that. Um, and people, in fact, are sometimes are concerned about the amount of money they'll spend on the gear. And I'm like, well, it's nothing compared to the amount of money you'll spend on travel once you start getting into this, because
Yeah.
people ask me, where's my favorite place to paraglide? And I tell them it's the place I've never been.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my couple of summers ago, I was in Europe flying one new site after another, and I'd been to Europe, a lot, and I was just flying over and over again new sites, and it was just an amazing luck in terms of the weather. That's another thing about paragliding is, it's a lot more fickle in terms of the weather, um, and so. Um, in fact, I did a lot of transitions from paragliding to powered paragliding from guys who were paraglider pilots, but they had busy lives,
There it is.
busy careers, busy family life. And they're like, look, Phil, I got to get a motor because I just need to go out to the field at the end of the day and knock out a flight. I can't be, chasing the weather, and spending all day, uh, chasing paraglider uh, weather. So, but you know, uh, if you've got the time, paragliding will definitely eventually reward you. You might do some para waiting.
Yeah.
It does take some patience.
What I would say is a very important aspect if you are aspiring to make the transition is understanding weather is critical, or knowing someone that understands the weather really well. That's critical.
Yeah, as far as the training is concerned, there are some people that might want to just find a training hill and throw themselves off the hill, and um, you know, it's probably not the best idea, but if it's totally calm, you might survive. You might get away with it, but you're better off if you really want to get into paragliding, the best thing to do is do a full-fledged training course, which actually won't be like starting from scratch. You know, the instructors, when you get there, they're going to evaluate. They go, okay, I get it. I see where you're at. Look, do this, that, and that, and let's get you in the air. You're not going to be starting from scratch, but it's really good to go to a top-notch training school like Superfly or Eagle, and get their training, get into their training program that's going to be custom tailored for your experience. And then instead of just being some guy that can maybe launch and land on a little training hill, you're going to be a guy that's on his way to launching before it gets big, and then spend the day in the air, in the big air, and land when it mellows out at the end of the day. So what do you need to know? What are you going to learn? You're going to learn things like the differences in ground handling. And if we get questions, by the way, I'm sure people
there's a handful here. Let me fire one off here. This was from Jim CR120. He's a relatively new pilot. He's getting some training. He's been around for a while, but he is now got his feet off the ground, if I understand correctly. So this question for Phil: for someone PPG 2 qualified, but interested in slope soaring, tall dunes at the beach, what should I be aware, or how can I know if I'm ready?
Well, you could find out by just going out there and trying it and see what happens. But it's really so much better to have somebody help you, because what I was just getting ready to say is some of the things are different with paragliding. The ground handling is different. The launch is different. And the wing is going to handle differently. The harness is very different. It's the hang points are going to be much lower than whatever paramotor you have. So it's going to be much more weight shifty. You're going to be more leaned back, or at least if you're flying properly, you're going to be more leaned back. But you're going to have this tendency to want to sit up straight like you are in your paramotor. So there's going to be some differences. So you don't want to just dive into this too quickly. And again, the best thing to do is to get some training. And the other thing is, like, some slope soaring, dune soaring. How much is enough wind? How much is too much wind? What if I get blown over the back and dragged?
There you go.
And so it's the kind of thing where it's so much easier if somebody shows you, benefit from somebody else's experience that somebody else showed them. And it's a lot easier on the body.
I like the idea of having a club or some kind of a chat group, like the Raptors. They have a little group. We've got the Tri-State Skywalkers. They're a group. You can kind of bounce off of each other. Like the other day, I didn't check the winds aloft, and I was like, it should be fine. Let's go fly. And somebody was like, somebody said, oh, I don't think it's going to be good. I went out there and there was nobody out there, and I realized why. It was because there was an east wind, and it turned out that it was flyable, but it just wasn't good. It was kind of wonky. I
Local
think that's
knowledge.
really important to get that fundamental knowledge of the weather. By the way, I want to say thanks to Shannon. Shannon Brooks contributed 2 times to the super chat. Thank you for your contribution. Really appreciate that. Let's segue into the next question. What are you hoping to see? This is from another question from Jim CR120. He said, what are you hoping to see? Have you seen the tank body paramotors like the Define and the Rebel RS11? Any thoughts? So I'm sorry. I thought that was a question leading the other question. We'll go back to that. I don't want to get too far off topic.
Okay.
So why do it? surf the sky, travel the world, endless improvement, fly further than a motor, fly all day, magic. Is it practical? Is there sites nearby? Is there towing available? Do you have the time and money to travel? Okay. You were about to segue into,
Well, we started talking about training and what's different,
yeah,
what you need to know to be able to paraglide versus paramotor.
right.
The ground handling's a little bit different, and in some ways it's easier than paramotoring because you don't have that big motor on your back. But there's another issue, and that is that you're often launching off a cliff or a mountain or some high hill, and you can be airborne really like in a couple of steps. So in a way that's good because it's easier, but in a way it requires more precision. You gotta, it's the wing's gonna come up easier and everything's gonna, happen easier and faster, but you need to be more precise because if you're launching off of a big cliff or a steep mountain or something like that, you're going to get air really fast. You're going to get some altitude really, really fast in a second. And so you want that ground handling, which is really about the launch, to be absolutely precise and right on the money. You don't want to mess it up. So it's going to be a little bit more about going in depth on the ground handling nuances versus how do I get this paramotor off the ground? It's just like, paramotoring launch is kind of like, how do I, get in the air successfully versus with the paraglider, I really need to have precision and nuance in a multitude of launch conditions, different slopes, different amounts of wind. So that's one thing that you'll learn. And then the other thing we started talking about is weather. And one of the big differences between paramotoring and paragliding is in paramotoring, we're always like, don't fly in the middle of the day. Bad, very, very bad thermals. And in paragliding, once you become experienced, you're waiting till the middle of the day to fly in the thermals.
Yeah.
And I often get this question, well, why is that? And it's, a lot of the, maybe you guys have seen Risk and Reward and whatnot. We didn't really cover this question. And I get this question a lot because in Risk and Reward, we say, hey, don't fly in the middle of the day if you're a paramotor pilot. But why can you do it if you're a paraglider pilot? And the reason is that, there are more risks in the paramotor than in the paraglider. And what's the difference? What's the difference? I mean, let's just say it's the same wing, for example. All right. So, the wing's no different. What's different is you're in a paramotor and you're in a paragliding harness. And the thing that makes the paramotor more dangerous to fly in the middle of the day than the paraglider are a few things that kind of add up. You're more lean back, you have higher hang points, and you have a lot more mass that's not close to you. And so what does all that do? Well, when you get jostled around by the thermals and the mixing air that you're flying in the middle of the day in order to be able to stay up in your paraglider, you do that in the motor. If you're more upright, I don't know if I can show this on here, but when you're weight shifting, if you go from side to side to weight shift like this, sitting up straight in your chair, well, you have to go really, really far to be able to weight shift, okay? But if you lean back like you're almost lying down, you just have to twist just a little bit to weight shift all of your weight onto your one side of your butt cheek or the other.
That's great information. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. And so, so that plus the fact that the hang points are much higher, your weight shift is much, much less. And so if you get a little bit of down on the left and up on the right, for example, in the paraglider harness, it reacts much more quickly. You get this passive quick loading, and you can load it the other way really, really quickly. So you've got really, really quick weight shift. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if you start like swaying and twisting with the paramotor, you've got that great big motor that's, you know, even though it's close to your back, it's still a few inches away, and it's a lot of weight. And you got a lot of angular momentum that can build up, okay? So you couple that with these high hang points, higher hang points, and inability to weight shift. That's kind of a bad combination. And then if you do get a collapse of some kind, you got a lot more things to hook a line on, you know? A line hangs down, catches on your cage or prop or whatever, you know? So there's other things, but all these things add up to actually what I think Anthony brought up earlier today, which was, well, gosh, you know, I kind of feel uncomfortable when I'm in turbulent air, when I'm in the paramotor. And the reason is, well, you know, you should. I do. I mean, I fly a competition paraglider in the middle of the day in the biggest air there is. But in a paramotor, forget it. I'm not doing it. Scary, dangerous, not a good idea. People will do it. People do it. But there is more risk. Don't fool yourself. There is more risk. So, and it's because of all these things that I'm bringing up. And so if you feel uncomfortable, Anthony, that's why. And so, in fact, when you're transitioning from powered paragliding to paragliding, this can be an issue because people are so used to being uncomfortable in the paramotor in turbulent air that when they go and get into the paragliding harness and they start to experience some of this turbulence, they're so used to being uncomfortable, it's a little bit difficult for them, or more difficult for them to get used to it. But eventually they do, and it's no problem. It's just something that the paramotor pilots might have to deal with.
One of the things that I was going to consider, something that I found is a common topic is gear. So from paramotoring, guys that come over to Freeflight, there's less forgiveness in the gear that you choose when you come to free flying. You might have, so maybe talk a little bit about that, Phil.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, let's talk about the wing. You know, in paramotoring, you can have a lot of different wings. You can have a regular paraglider wing that's maybe got motorizers on it, but otherwise it's a paraglider wing. Or you can have a motor specific wing. And you can typically fly a smaller wing with the paramotor so that it's more responsive. But the wings can be quite different. So that's one thing. We're in the paramotor, we're less worried about efficiency, and we're more interested about stability and speed and handling and stuff like that, depending upon what level you're flying at or what your mission is, whether it's cross country or slalom or learning or whatever. But when you get into paragliding, you're kind of typically interested, unless you're interested in acro, you're interested in learning to stay up and then go far, or cross-country paragliding. And so the wings are a little bit different than the motor wing. The way that you choose it is different. Where you know, like you might take a paraglider wing for paramotoring and say, you know what, I'm going to be at or above. I'm going to go above the certified weight range. Okay, well, we do that all the time in paramotoring, but in paragliding, you actually stay within the certified weight range because you're just planning on having the wing collapse, and you want to know that it's going to behave in the way that it was designed to behave.
All right, now you're starting to scare people away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll swing back to this whole collapse thing. We can do that. we
He
can do
just
that.
told me that he's buying his wing based on knowing that it's going to collapse. It's true though.
Well, when people, when people they say, "Oh, Phil, I just had this really gnarly big collapse." I'm like, "Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great training."
Great training.
Plus, of
That's
course, with
very
Robert
valuable.
at Palomar.
Yeah,
But
that was great training.
yeah, it was. It was
Free
really
SIV.
good. People pay a lot of money for that kind of training.
People
So,
really like that video.
but the paraglider wings, you got to be in the weight range, and
Yeah.
you got to start at a kind of an easy level, and then work your way up. And that's typically what happens is you start on an A or a B, and then you slowly, once you master one wing, then you go to the next wing, and then the next wing, and the next wing, and the next wing. You don't start on the highest level wing because they're too hard to fly. But if you do it in steps and you work your way up, then you learn how to fly the higher performance wings, which aren't as safe, but you can handle them because you learn how to fly them. And yeah, I mean, you have to pick a wing that's right for you, and you want to get the size right. Sometimes you'll even go from one brand to another just to make sure that you're in the exact right size. So, and you want to be kind of like somewhere between the middle and the top, depending upon the wing and depending upon you, depending upon whether you live in Denver or Boston.
And think about that. This is real, that you're considering your weight, you're weighing how much you weigh in your gear so much that guys are literally trimming their toothbrush, cutting it in half to save weight.
Not in the beginning. It's not that serious in the beginning, but eventually you get to the point where I got a spreadsheet right now that I could share with you. I could do a screen share actually.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Do I have permission to do a screen
Yeah,
share? Will I be able to do that?
Yep.
Let's see what happens if I do that.
Yeah, I mean, we have conversations about certain type of wings that you're going to buy, and you go, "Oh, that wing, that's going to want you to fly at the top. So you're going to want to load yourself up for that wing."
So let me know, can you guys actually see this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Don't stress about all those numbers, but basically what I've been doing is I've been comparing. I'm currently flying the Enzo 3, which is a comp wing, an uncertified wing, and I'm trying to get a kit together for a lighter weight kit. And I'm looking at different wings and different harnesses, and I'm going through all these numbers. So yeah, that's pretty insane. But
wow,
that's kind of the level that it gets to once you start. And the other thing, I'll tell you one more thing, and that is that it turns out that the smaller the pilot, the more complicated it gets because the narrower the weight ranges get, and so the bigger pilots have it easier in paragliding. So if you're a big guy, lucky you. If you're a small shrimp like me, not so great.
Got a lot of work. Got your work cut out for you, Phil.
Yeah. It gets the smaller wings don't perform as well, and they're more finicky. They're spicier, and you got to get the weight right. It's even more finicky about the weight. Any questions there on the team or the?
We actually need to give something away because it's the half-hour mark, and Sean wants to get off of work.
Yeah. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Now I got so efficient. He's doing other people's work.
Hey,
so listen, I've got a little situation here. Okay. I'm going to just hold on just a second. I've got a little situation. I've got this. It's a medium size paraglidingtalk.com t-shirt. Okay. That's what we're giving away now. I don't have your size if it's not medium. Just saying. So you might have to give it to someone else, re-gift it for Christmas. Or you can just squeeze into it. If you're a big boy, you just stretch it on. Or you can convince me later on that you got it and you really wanted one that fits your size, and then I'll have to make one.
You just cut it off at the chest, you know.
Cut
That
it
was
off
big
at
in
the
the
chest.
80s.
Yeah, right.
Anthony
Paragliding
Bella
talk.
would wear it.
By the way, a couple people donating to the super chat. Crazy Uncle Bob, greetings. Also, Jerry, is that Delay? Delia? I don't know how to say that, but thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that. Let's spin the wheel of Winnie things, shall
All
we?
right, so now we're done taking names because I've already got the names
Oh,
in here.
yeah.
But I got something important to share with
Yeah.
the whole group of people watching and everything. First off, hit that like button. Phil has been a tremendous fountain of knowledge, just
No
forthcoming with just fact after fact after fact, just drilling it home. So
Yeah.
please hit that like button. He's been a tremendous guest. Now I've got something very, very, very special to share with everybody here.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
You have to share this.
yes, absolutely. Now, lately there was this new find of this cave art that was found in the Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, check this out. All right. Maybe perhaps it's the whole COVID thing. Maybe I've been inside too long. I don't know. But this is supposed to be that cave painting
Yeah.
or
Zoom
one
in.
of the cave paintings. Okay. Now,
zoom in a little more.
I seen this thing and it ping just automatically. Now I've got the circle that says, look at this. Now this is zoomed in. All right. Now here's the wing. Here's
Ancient
lines. And
hieroglyphics.
here's the man. Okay.
Yes.
That's a paraglider, yo.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm pointing this out because every story that's in the browser that talks about this ancient painting doesn't mention anything about the guy with the paraglider there
Yeah.
from like 17,000 years ago.
Yep.
Oh, so maybe they don't know about it over there. Maybe they do. But, yeah, I just had to point that out.
Yeah, but you need to point out the other guy down at the LZ waiting for him.
Yeah.
On
radio.
not just one guy, several guys. So
Yeah.
check this out. Look. Here's the guy right here. Okay, he's way up high. Here's all the animals down here, and here's the LZ, and this guy's doing acro down here. Look at this guy.
He's upside.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's real.
Pretty well. I'm just saying, maybe it's conspiracy theory. I don't know, but I'm just pointing that out. I saw it first.
Yep.
I agree. And what monolith, right?
What monolith?
Yeah.
That's right.
So here we go. I'm going to spin this wheel.
Paraglidingtalk.com, here to inform and excite. By the way, thank you, Mom, for your contribution of $5 to the super chat. Here we go.
This is a good spin.
This is a good spin, and it is full. Man, there must be a lot of people watching.
Yes, there is, Robert.
How many people are watching?
They all are.
Paraglidingtalk.com, your favorite place on Thursday nights. Oh, 80 people. Thanks, Craig. This wheel spin, by the way, was brought to you by Nebraska PPG, Josh Bowden. Thank you, Josh Bowden, for your endless support. Paraglidingtalk.com. Oh, it's Andrew Luna. Andrew Luna. Go. Andrew Luna. Oh, wait, it might keep going. Oh. Is that Matt Cowan? I love this guy's name. My dog is choking. Matt Cowan.
Nice.
Matt Cowan shirt.
Congratulations.
Winner, chicken dinner. Please go to paraglidingtalk.com and fill out the form for contact so I can get your address and send you your winnings. Thank you for participating in paraglidingtalk.com. I'm out of neck gaiters, so we might have to order some more. Yeah, really close. Andrew, that was really close, man. Okay. By the way, the show's also brought to you by Germ Gladiator. Go check out their website if you want to get some good hand sanitizer, germgladiator.com. Also, the show's brought to you by iFly Indiana. iFly Indiana powered paragliding. And the website is iflyindiana.com.
We got something awry here, Robert.
What's going on here?
I believe Matt. Hang on here.
Matt Cowan.
Matt Cowan. He said he's an extra large kind of guy. Respin
Oh.
with exclamation points. So does that mean I respin? Because I still have it up. I could very well respin it.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
he wants a shirt that fits.
He's he's in the chat. So say yes or no, Matt Cowan. Do you want me to respin?
What size is he? I might
He
have
said
another
he's
shirt
an
for him.
extra large.
Extra large. Okay. I'm going to look into that. And then
Okay.
we'll spin the wheel a little bit later
Okay.
for the paraglidingtalk.com t-shirt in the medium size.
But I'll keep all the names in it that were already in it that I put in there before we did the original spin. So that way, none of the late guys, that show up after the hour and a half mark. They're like, oh, you didn't have my name in there.
Yeah.
They had to said something before. I'm just saying. Yeah, Matt said extra large.
I like that. So let's talk a little bit about you were going to say something just before we gave stuff away and cut to the break. What I don't want to step on your toes if you had something. Otherwise, I'm going to segue.
I think we were just talking about the wing. We can spend time talking about harnesses and reserves and varios until the cows come home. But maybe people have questions, specific questions. And the other thing that you can do that would be interesting is if somebody is really interested in switching from power to paraglide or adding it on, and they want to ask a specific gear question, for example, like, can I use my wing or should I get a different wing, and what size should I get? I weigh 145 pounds and I live in Denver, kind of thing, So if somebody's got a specific scenario that they want some advice on, we could use them as an example to show how this works to figure out what kind of gear you need.
Okay, like that. Fly Swamper made a statement. He said, it's funny. I watch the show and I think I want to transition into free flying. And then I get into rough air with a paramotor and I think, why bother?
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's exactly right.
Or you become a free flight pilot and you get a higher bump tolerance and then you can fly and you don't know the difference. Transitioning to motoring, I think, is easier. I think it is. What do you think about that?
In some ways, maybe, but it doesn't matter because everybody's in their own situation. And, if somebody's a motor pilot and want to experience free flight, they should know that, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable in the air in the paramotor, as you should, in the bumps. But when you get into the paraglider, you're eventually going to be totally fine with it. Mm-hmm. You're going to be like, bring it on. And instead of just going with the motor, just think about this. With the motor, you're just like motoring through these thermals. Okay. With the paraglider, you get into the thermal and you twist up in it. You stay in it. You don't fall out unless you're Robert.
Unless you're Robert. This is harassment. There's some guys right now that are trying to break a world record to fly across the United States, coast to coast.
Powered or unpowered?
Powered. Mm-hmm. Check this out.
And I believe he's in here too.
He was in
the chat. I do know that.
The chat.
Oh, there he is, right there.
He's live right here.
Hey guys.
Harley Milne is with us on the road somewhere in between coasts. Where are you at, Harley?
Hey, you have to ask these guys. I have no idea.
Yeah. You just landed where you were told.
Yeah, we're in the middle of Texas.
You made it to Texas already. I just flew with you guys.
We're actually only 300 miles away from Paragliding in Louisiana. That's how close we are. So we should hit Louisiana tomorrow if things go well. If they don't, we'll be right on the border.
Wow. Yeah, I've been really enjoying your pictures. You should follow it's 50X Challenge on Instagram. He's got some great posts on there. By the way, you can follow the show on Instagram too. Paraglidingtalk.com. Paragliding Talk on Instagram.
Well, if you fellows are doing the cross country and the paramotor, I'd be interested to hear what time of day you're flying. If you're flying in midday conditions, and if so, how that's going.
We're flying all day, every day that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we typically have been trying to take off at first light within the beginning of twilight. We've had some days where we've had to wait a little bit longer for light. And, we also lost yesterday. We got totally blown out yesterday. We tried, and all I did was break gear. So but out of 5 days, we've had 4 solid days and 4 days to cover, I think, about almost 950 miles is what I think it is. I haven't added it all up yet, but that's pretty insane.
That's that's total, or is that?
Yeah, so we've
900?
been averaging. So like today, I think it was about 270, 280 miles. The day before we did nothing. The day before that, we did 360 miles. I had one flight where we covered 172 miles in 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I had a top speed. It's unofficial right now, but Fly Sky High reported 89.5 miles per hour on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. I was tracking real quick. Hey, Harley. Hey, team. How are you guys doing?
Anthony.
I hope you're eating well.
Yeah,
Hey,
I hope
so
we're not.
if you guys zoom in on, if you hit one of those links that I kind of put in the chat. There he is, Greg.
It's Greg Anthony Harris.
Tom, Ray. So it's amazing to see. You really learn a lot about the United States when, I think it's so cool with Google Earth. You don't have to leave your chair in your house, and now you can visit any part of the world. It's amazing. Something we could never do 20 years ago. But if you look at, you zoom in and you start to see where he took off from. In San Diego, you got some mountains and it's green and all that. And then just after San Diego, he hits desert, and it's just winds and it's sand and it's boring, and he's got to be just bored out of his gourd up there.
Yeah.
And then, somewhere as he hits Texas, I noticed he got a chance to say hello or see Anthony Vella and those guys. Maybe it was just the team. But then he starts to go into some greenery, and it's amazing to see the landscape and the geography.
And by the way, I hope we're not hijacking the show. I know that you guys wanted us to call in, so don't let us do that.
1,061 miles so far, minus our.
Wow, that is amazing, guys! I am stoked for you.
We're pretty close to the halfway mark. Yeah.
5 days.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, technically 4 days of flying, and I think we're averaging about 7 to 7.5 hours of flying per day. And so, just got to get above the turbulence. And like today, the whole reason I had to go high again was because of first of all, there were lots of thermals popping off all the way to 3,500 feet. And then we had cloud cover come in at, it was, I think the low was at 6,000 and the top of it was about 9,000. So had to get through and over the clouds to be able to get a smooth ride. And of course, a high smooth ride is usually quick, which is what you want.
Wow. Well, I'm stoked, and thank you for coming to Southern California to start that thing off so we can meet you. That was super cool. Greg Anthony, thanks for the great pictures, by the way. Really appreciate that. Ray Pierce and Tom Pierce, they're killing it. Super great guys. They've been.
Yeah, if I may, Robert, I do. This team. I mean, it's amazing how quickly we gelled. We didn't really meet until San Diego, and I'd only really met Ray, really. And, we've had some very long days with, we start 2 hours before we launch with briefings with Dave in Florida, getting everything ready. It's almost a 30-minute process to get me all hooked in and ready to go. And that's if nothing goes wrong. And so this team is working incredibly hard. We had a day where, I landed in the middle of nowhere. It took them an hour to get to me. And, we worked until nearly midnight fixing and checking things. Like we broke a leaf spring on my camper. And so we were super lucky. The gentleman whose private airstrip we landed on had a welder, and Ray can fix anything. He likes to get paid, but he's getting nothing for this trip.
Yeah.
But you know, as a team, everyone is working incredibly hard to do stuff. I mean, Cynthia's working with the press and posting. Anthony's filming and providing all the material to post. Tom keeps everything running that needs power, and the ground crew, you know, he keeps them running, and food, water, propane, gas, you name it. And you know, Ray is checking up on me every 5 minutes. In fact, I think it's even more frequent than that. So he sees it all. And you know, when the Garmin thing wasn't working the other day, you know, these guys got kind of worried because they lost track of me for several hours, I think. So honestly, if anyone else wants to do this again, this is your team.
Nice. Well, I'm stoked for you guys. If you want to follow him, there's a link in the description or in the chat here that Anthony dropped just a few seconds ago. And so you can follow him. If you'll share that again, Anthony. So that's on Garmin's website, and you can follow him live. And so you guys are awesome. You can hang out. We're going to continue with our conversation with Phil Russman. Thank you for checking in. And if you guys are still flying next Thursday, let's check in again. How about it?
Sure thing. And sorry for hijacking, Phil. I think I've seen your stuff one other time, so it's great to see you on the show, and we'll be listening.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, I'm stoked. You got great internet connection wherever you're at. That's amazing. You're stealing satellite connection somewhere. By the way, the show's brought to you by Lone Star Paramotor. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, like these guys are, you can reach out to Ron Turan. You can get some great training. He's got some world-class training there. Great facility. LoneStarParamotor.com is the website. Go check that out. Also, the show's brought to you by Torrey Pines Glider Port. If you're really interested in getting some free flight training and you want to learn, great place to do it. Really great, really beautiful. It's right down the street from Phil. You might even get to fly with Phil. That's how great it is. Torrey Pines Glider Port. The website is flytorrey.com. Yeah. So Phil, let's talk a little bit about your transition from free flying to motoring, or from motoring to free flying. How did it happen?
Well, yeah, I guess I started with paragliding. I mean, I started with hang gliding, and then, you know, I was a fixed wing helicopter pilot, but that doesn't really count. That has nothing to do with any of this. I started as a hang glider pilot, and then in '99 transitioned into paragliding, and then shortly thereafter got into motoring because people wanted to do some videos about motoring, and Jeff Goying wanted me to do the risk and reward video. So I figured, well, I better know something about motoring if I'm going to do a video about it, and just got involved in it, and wound up going on a bunch of trips with Jeff Hammond all over Central America and South America. And, but the transition, honestly, from paragliding to powered paragliding wasn't really smooth. It involved wood splinters.
Oh,
like props exploding.
Oh no.
You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So what happened?
Which time?
Oh no.
No. Yeah, I mean, everybody back in those days, there were a lot of props breaking. You know, you didn't have to worry about where you're going to get the wood for the bonfire at the end of the day.
Oh no.
You know, but things are better now. You know, the people learning a paramotor, you know, they'll go maybe forever without breaking a prop. So that's kind of cool.
So what would you say that when you decided, hey, I'm going to try this whole paramotoring thing, did you know what you were getting into?
No. And my friend, who was an instructor, don't go with a friend. that's an instructor, because they're not going to look after you. Here, take this paramotor, go fly. It's really easy. You can do it.
Yeah.
Go with somebody that you're paying.
Yeah.
It's better. It's going to be better. I went with a friend. It didn't work out so well, but eventually I figured it out. But
that's great information.
yeah,
By the way, that is very valuable.
yeah, you get what you pay for. You know that saying, good, fast, cheap, pick two, right?
Yeah.
Good, fast, cheap, pick two.
Yeah.
But are there any questions? Did anybody come up with a specific, I want to switch and I have this gear, or what gear should I get? Or anything like
Actually,
that?
kind of a random question from Mark H. He said, how did they ever get William Bill Shatner, or how did he find out about it to do the cameo on Risk and Reward?
Well, so Bill was doing this benefit, and he had already, we met him actually previously at a fly-in at the Salton Sea, or I think it was Otay actually. No, not Otay. Where was it? Octavia Wells. Yeah. And he had his big Doberman pinchers with him and stuff, and he's super nice. And he'd already been flying, but when he contacted Jeff, and he needed some help launching a paramotor because he wanted to fly a paramotor into this benefit. So Jeff said, "Okay, well that's good, but I'm doing this video, and it would be really nice to get you doing some intros for our video." So he said, "Sure, no problem, I'll do that." So so he did it, and it was really quite an experience. We shot first we shot the video that we needed for Risk and Reward, just in case something happened to him while he was flying his paramotor into the benefit. And then the next morning, we launched with Bill, and actually I videotaped his launch, and he because of the torque, I was standing in the wrong place. As soon as his feet left the ground, the motor kind of swerved right towards me, and I literally had to dive out of the way. And I got all that on video.
Oh, wow.
And then me and a bunch of guys in the community basically flew with William Shatner to the benefit and watched him land there.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of video of him on that day launching and whatnot. And actually the day before, when we went to a buddy's house, we were practicing ground handling with William Shatner.
What a trip.
Yeah, that was something. Yeah. Super nice guy.
Have you talked to him since?
Nope. No, but I did. I had previously met Leonard Nimoy briefly, just a kind of a, hey, hello, how are you? You're famous. I'm nothing kind of thing.
You're famous in my world, Phil.
Right. I'll tell you one more Star Trek story. So the reason I got into flying was because of my mother. She was a pilot, a fixed wing pilot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's right. And so we take little trips in the plane all over the place. And when I was a teenager, and we were coming back from a short trip, and we went to go park the plane, and there was another airplane in our spot. And my mom was all pissed off because she had to go park the plane somewhere else and deal with that. And then we found out it was Leonard Nimoy's airplane. Yeah,
What?
it was Leonard Nimoy's Piper, and he was he'd flown into this little microscopic airport to to be in a play that was taking place at a spot across the freeway from this airport. Had something to do, I think, with Sherlock Holmes, if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure.
No kidding.
But anyway, yeah. So
what's his? He's on
Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, Star Trek. Right?
Leonard Nimoy was on Star Trek, right? He was Spock.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So he's a pilot. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He was qualified to fly
fixed wing, right?
Enterprise.
Right.
Okay. Okay. That's great. He brought some legitimacy to the acting. Okay.
So when I saw him, when I met him years later, I told him about that, and he got a laugh out of that.
Oh, you met him after that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Many years later.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Well, we've got just a couple more minutes. If you've got questions for Phil Russman, now's your chance. He's a very busy guy.
I don't have any questions, but we do have a spinny wheelie thing.
Oh, you want to spin it again?
Well,
spin it to win it.
I've been
by
sitting
the
on
way,
it for a minute.
Craig, if you're ready to talk about Resurgence PPG, I would love for you to do that. Is he around?
I don't have anything bad to say about Resurgence PPG.
Nothing. Wait, nothing?
Nothing bad to say about Resurgence PPG.
Huh.
I had you there for a second, didn't I? Resurgence PPG is a fantastic for veterans by veterans program to enable disabled veterans to learn to get into flight. It's a fantastic program. If you have $1 spare, please consider donating to their cause. Major Scandrett, Resurgence PPG, is in the chat. He would appreciate it, and so would his nominees. If you do know a disabled veteran that could benefit from that, please go to resurgenceppg.com and nominate them, or the same link, you can donate. If you can't and you're using Amazon, please consider using smile.amazon.com. And they'll donate a percentage back to Resurgence if they're your chosen charity of choice. Check your NOTAMs and TFRs before you take to the skies. Be safe.
And without further ado,
thank you, Craig Taylor.
Look how see how we just ebb and flow now. Look at this.
I know.
Beautiful.
This is really smooth tonight. Phil has to come on more often.
He's an inspiration to us all.
That's right. He did inspire me. He's the first guy I talked to.
Yeah.
Here we go. The spinny wheel of Winnie things.
You came to me to be a paramotor pilot. I told you to be a paraglider pilot. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. But you said there was no wrong answer. So I said, well, I'm going to do both then.
That's right. And so you did.
That's right. No wrong answer. You're on paraglidingtalk.com. This is for the medium t-shirt. We're going to give away this thing tonight. I'm serious.
Critical comment.
Oh, it's really close. I think it's going to be Sean Wallace. That greasy wheel.
Greasy wheel.
Sean Wallace.
Look at
Write
that.
it down.
Yep, Sean Wallace.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Another Sean.
Sean Wallace.
Sean
Congratulations, winner, chicken dinner. You are the winner of a paraglidingtalk.com t-shirt. Please reach out to me at paraglidingtalk. No, you did not win. You simmered down back there. You need to reach out to me on the website, paraglidingtalk.com/contact. Give me your information. Tell me that you won the shirt. I'm going to send it to you. No, you didn't win, son. Sorry. Really, really awesome show tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate Harley and the team checking in. Thank you, moderators, for all that you do. If you want to support the show on Patreon, go check that link out in the description. Also, there's a link to Light Touch Films. Light Touch is the website. Light Touch Films. You can buy all kinds of paragliding stuff, paragliding gear. That's Phil Russman's website. He's been sporting that thing for a long time. So he's got it narrowed down to only the very best stuff that you can get. And he responds too. Ask him.
It's actually down. It's actually not up right now.
Oh, it's not. So we need to donate to Phil's web fund to get that back online. Is it really down?
Yeah.
Oh, darn it.
That's all right.
Oh, sorry,
it was
guys.
blowing up during Christmas. Everybody's buying stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was one question, and before we go off the air, and
Hey, real
I
quick,
miss this.
Jeremy Graham
It's a,
actually, sorry, Robert. Jeremy Graham asked about to provide a link for the donations. I believe it was for Resurgence PPG. I don't know if that's in your comments or in the chat.
oh, good question. I think Craig did post that. Okay. Also, there was a question. Hey, Justin T. Myers in the chat. He says, thank you, Phil. There is a question from, where is he at here? I think it's from My Dog is Choking. Is that who asked about it? Yeah, it's My Dog is Choking. That's his screen name. I love it. He said, ask about one-man towing or e-winch. Any feedback on that? I'm interested in that. When he asked that question, I was like, oh, yeah, I like that question.
It's a question about a specific winch?
Single or one-man towing. Have you heard of this?
In other words,
a remote controller tied to a winch that's down on the ground. It's an RC controller, and the winch is hooked to a battery, and then you literally just launch yourself out of your vehicle.
Whoa!
It sounds like a cool idea.
But you haven't tried it yet.
I have not.
Okay, you know what we need to do? Moderation team. We need to somehow get a hold of the guy who makes those. I know that he's around. We'll have him on the show and see if he'll donate one.
I saw those being used for skydivers were practicing with those.
Really?
Yeah.
One man.
Strange.
I always thought of it as just like you don't have any friends.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't recommend doing it alone.
It's like confirmation that you don't have any friends.
I guess if something goes wrong, you got nobody to yell at.
Yeah, that's true. You can't blame the tow operator if you get a bad tow. Jim CR120 donated $10 to the super chat. Thank you, Jim. You are super, my friend. We're going to go to the after show. If you want to join the after show and you're one of the supporters of the show on Patreon, PayPal, or in the super chat, you drop your email in that link in the super chat. Dustin T. Meyer donated $10 super chat. If you drop your email in there, it will get blotted out, so not the whole internet will know your email, and we'll send you an invite, and we'll hang out for a little bit. I think Phil will stick around for just a few more minutes. So thank you. You guys are awesome. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see